Exactly. It's funny. I've been watching some of the old Kojak episodes.
Channel. I go to channel. Can you turn me up a little bit?
Get TV. I think it is.
I do 461 on Verizon.
Oh,
you got to get all the old time.
Yeah, I like those. There's new stuff. A lot of it, man.
Waste of time. Waste of thought.
I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
And all over there with the real doctor. Dr. Bradley's in the house. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It's the day that God has given us, and I intend to live it in His honor.
There you go. All right. We want to thank our sponsor, Guarantee Rate Mortgage Company. For all your mortgage needs, give branch manager Cora Holbrook a call at area code 781-342-0252. Guarantee Mortgage is located at 75 State Street in downtown Boston, Mass. Guarantee Rate Mortgage Company, guaranteed to exceed your expectations. Okay. Also want to remind you, Guarantee Rate Mortgage, in conjunction with K&R Boston, they're going to be presenting a home buyers workshop that's going to be held Saturday, February 17, 2024, from 2 to 4:30 p.m. at the Mattapan Library, located at 1350 Blue Hill Avenue in Mattapan, Mass. Please RSVP at 2-17homebuyerEd.eventbrite. This is a free event. Like I said, folks, you want to tune into that. And like I said, that's Saturday, February 17, 2024, from 2 to 4:30 p.m. Also, reminded of MAMLEO membership. The general membership meeting will be held today from 12 noon at MAMLEO headquarters at 61 Columbia Road, also via Zoom. So you want to tune into that as well. Like I said, folks, before we took the break, we were talking about the situation over there with our brothers and sisters who are coming from other parts of the world, who need our help, who need our love, our support during these difficult times. I know folks might feel way taken, but no one is taking. Like I said, all that our folks have paid in this country, this isn't even a down payment on what's owed to our folks. So, folks, don't look down.
It is like you said. It's the old added strategy of divide and conquer. Crabs in a barrel, that they keep us fighting while they have all the resources outside the barrel, and we're just fighting to try to get outside the barrel. We don't realize the mass amount of wealth that they have. That like you said, $60 billion is the budget for the state, and again, there's so many inefficiencies and so much bureaucracy and so many ways money is being wasted, but yet they're looking at the fact that these people have nothing to do, have no resources, completely helpless, but they want to blame those people for the fact that they don't have, that our government's not working, taking care of us already.
Well, we probably just last night, we probably dropped way more in bombs over in the Middle East.
And how much do each of those bombs cost?
Oh man, they're up there, millions of dollars.
I believe one bomb is worth like an entire school budget, a year worth of a school budget. But yet,
which is why I go back to my original comment in the last hours, that America is rich enough to do this. If you think about, just take that scenario where they're sending military assets over to bomb
Ukraine,
these areas.
Yeah,
just the fact that you're flying a B-1 bomber nonstop to
13,000 miles
to do this mission. 2 of them, by the way. All right, the personnel, all right, the fuel, to actually have another plane.
The years of training
to refuel. I mean, you got all these different things that are happening just to carry out that mission.
Yeah.
The money that's associated, all that is supported by money. All right, so you can't actually do that, and you can't do 2 things at once here. So my point here is simple. Folks, look at how they dealt with the issue with the Ukrainians. Look at it. Open up your eyes, people. Black America, open your eyes here. Look how they actually brought in these individuals, and you hear absolutely nothing at all about them. They're housed, they're fed, they're clothed, they have employment. They're living as decent American, just as decent American lives as people who've been here for generations.
Right.
But yet, the people that look like us gotta live in these facilities. As Jamal said, it's not adequate for.
No, it's not.
For that type of a situation.
No.
Why do you have one group of individuals who are treated with this,
respect and humanity,
and there's other people, individuals who are treated inhumanely?
Well, that's because there's no racism in this country.
That's where I was going. You beat me to the punch. It's because there's no racism in this country.
Right.
It's because there's no preferences in this country. Right. It's because we tend to do what Dr. King said that they should be doing, treating us all as human beings. But this is the point. This is the point. Black America, people of color in this country, forces America to look at itself and form a more perfect union.
Well,
because we hold their feet to the fire. We have to continue to do that.
America, be true to what you said on paper, right? Be true to what you said on paper.
We forced them to do it.
Right. But Dr. Bradley, we as African Americans who have born here, we're not treated any better than our brothers and sisters. This is what should be a wake-up call for us, is that, okay, I live here. I'm a natural born citizen of the United States. And as a black person, I don't get treated any better than these folks. The only thing is that I have opportunities that they don't because I was born here.
You got documentation.
Right. But the treatment that I get,
but you know, like,
it's not much.
You bring up another point, which is why, and my wife always gets on me about being downstairs in my office. I have 2 televisions. I've been blessed. All right, and I have them on CNN. And I have them on MSNBC. I don't deal with state news.
I tune in every day because you know what. But very short.
Very short.
Yes.
Just get a feel for what they're talking about. But this is my point, and I think I have just lost my point. I think I'm over 60, man.
It's down in the basement.
MSNBC and CNN on, and your wife says that you don't get you get too lost in the point.
I think my point is this here, though. My point is this: Black America has to understand that it plays a major role. It played a major role into what America is today.
Yes.
And so what we have to do, what we have to understand is that we have been conditioned. That's where I'm going. We have been conditioned, even within ourselves.
Yes.
All right, to value people based on what they look like.
Yes.
As opposed to what they have contributed to our nation.
Like we fall into the materialism. The idea of the Sunday's best, when the slave master would let the slaves go to church, and the one that would dress a little bit better would actually be like, oh look, my master dressed me in these clothes.
Well, just think about how
now. The same now translate to the day with people with the sneakers, the clothes, spending all that money.
But
anything happen?
If you got it's Black History Month, now all of a sudden they're showing movies with black people in it more this month, and then at the end of the month, no representation.
Exactly, you don't see them.
Every commercial you see now is biracial. All of a sudden, everybody's in the biracial. I mean, it's just so transparent.
But this is what bothers me. When I watch these, knowing that the contributions that we have made to this nation, and then I watch the analysts talk about politicians, and I sit there and I see a black man who's a strategic analyst for a Republican strategic analyst. I said to myself, dude, where are you? I mean, what are you?
But this has been the history, Dr. Bradley. The same ones who, Massa, we sick, Massa.
But how can you be an analyst for a political party that doesn't value you?
Because it's a paycheck.
Yeah.
It's a paycheck. See, folks have found a niche. Say, hey, they need a few people to look like you. You go out there and you sell the propaganda.
Look at all the actors that they have. Black for Trump.
You were finished my sentence. Right. You think they don't even know. Hey, we'll give you $100. You just stand there with this sign. Okay.
I just shake my. How about your values, though?
The value is $100.
But Larry, listen, man. You have this party, and I don't want to shift this to Republican versus Democrat. But I look at America on 2 foundational documents.
Yeah.
One is the Declaration of Independence, and the other one is came 12 years later, which is the Constitution. All right. So the Declaration of Independence says that all men are created equal.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. All right. The Constitution says that that Declaration is not quite right. Some of us was born with the inherent right to rule over others.
The enabler rule, right?
You know what I mean?
The 3/5.
Yeah, and so I think America is trying to balance those 2 documents. When you have a political party that says we need a hierarchical government that is ruled by a particular demographic, and that demographic is European origin, of a male form, and everybody else has to get in line. And then you're going to support as a person who will be getting in the line the party who says to subscribe to that school of thought, something is wrong with you.
But something is sprung right off from the bat,
I mean, I
Dr.
get it.
Bradley in Rhodes. When you have a document that was only written
Yeah.
and input
I got you.
by only white men,
Got
the
you.
segment of the population didn't see women and black people
As people.
as equal.
Or
So
as
how-
people, period.
So you have a doctrine that didn't include people who were part of the United States at the
Yeah,
time,
But that is
but were excluded from participating in.
that is manifesting itself in
Right.
today's politics stuff.
Well, this is why these folks say they want to go back to a strict constitution, because that constitution
Yeah.
didn't consider us.
No,
It
if you
did
read,
not.
so like actually the original I guess convention was considered convention of the well-fed, the well-read, and the well-bred.
There you go.
You know,
And
it wasn't
then-
like it wasn't
right.
for the commoners.
Well, look at when Trump got that tactic. He says, "Look, I took care of you guys. You know, his rich friends, right? That wasn't all the things that were taken away. A lot of these folks who are in this cult following don't understand that what's happening is happening to them as well. They're paying higher taxes, right? And the reason why we're in such dire economic and we're actually coming out of it better under President Biden is because of what Donald Trump was not doing, and he was only doing for his rich friends.
But you notice that the Republicans are not talking about that, right?
No.
You notice how they shift the narrative to the border, all right, not the economy.
Right. Stock market is high, but I'm going to grab this call.
Okay.
But you have someone who wants to be the president who is rooting for the economy to tank so he can benefit from it. That is American. That is a patriot who is saying, I want this to be like Herbert Hoover. I want the economy to tank. I don't want good things to be happening in America because it hurts my chances of getting elected. All is good news.
no, it hurts his chances of pardoning himself.
Right, that's true. That's what he's all running for. He's running on a pardon.
He's running.
Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table.
He's running for his freedom.
Exactly.
Good morning, everyone. This is T. Michael Thomas.
Good morning
Good
to you.
morning.
This is
Where do I begin, right?
Yes. Since the activities at the cast, I send out a questionnaire to a certain elected official. Let me paint the picture here. And I said, no humanity. The response, because I said, here is People's Academy, right around the corner, how's this program, etc. My response from this elected official was, and I will show it to you in writing, that, well, T. Michael, on a state and city level, we have tried pushing earmarks, blah, 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 support for your program, non-supported, and why don't you go to the private sector and get the funding you need, and then at the end, well, it is a good program. So my take is, ARS T. Michael and the People's Academy that has helped orchestrated over $1 billion in construction jobs, over $200 million in community benefits, who has sacrificed out of pocket personally over $500K, on and on and on, continue to, but the elected bodies, state and city, will have the audacity to not support a program that is focused on helping individuals for 3 generations plus in bettering themselves from killing each other, going in and out of jail. Nothing to do with the migrants.
Right.
I'm simply saying is that I'm turned down cold-heartedly and told go to the private sector to help people in need of help.
Right. So, T. Michael, what I hear you saying is this politician said to you, you go out and find the money. If it's successful, give me a call. I'll be there for the ribbon cutting.
Pretty much.
I want to get credit.
Pretty much what he said.
Right, I want to get credit. You go do all the work.
I'll grandstand
We'll come
later.
there, right? And when they have those ceremonies with the shovel, right? And at the end, we'll come and tell how we supported it and what a great thing it is. But this is what I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying is that, and T. Michael, how many people have shown up, right, and shown out to support what you're doing? This what I'm saying is that we get this all wrong. We looking at the shiny object, right, and you're getting support, but yet we go over there and we want to protest people that look like us, just trying to have a place to to lay their head down, right? To get out of this cold weather, to take care of their family. And we have issues such as yours. And one of the things we'll talk about is the violence in our schools, right? Because I'm just saying is that, you know, it says unsafe teachers, students demand change at Brockton High School. That is pretty much most urban schools around the state and around the country that we're seeing this. So, and this has nothing to do with immigrants, but it also speaks to, I know you've been trying to get in down there, and I know you've had better success down there, is trying to get our folks prepared, right, to be able to be self-sufficient, right? And we're not supporting those things, but yet we'll go in there. When you call for a call to action for what you're doing, right, how many people from the community actually show up? And I was really turned off, honestly, by seeing our folks out there. I'm not saying they don't have a right to, but that is not really the venue of protest of people just trying to better their lives. You're trying to do that here. Are you getting any support trying to better the people who are American citizens here?
Well, can I say two things, Larry?
Sure. You can say it.
I need to finish one more part of the first part and say one other thing. Plus, I got a phone call from an elected individual. In the conversation, bragged or gloated, or however you want to interpret it, about
We lost him.
Franklin Institute, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to what you're saying about the protests. Look at Walgreens. Walgreens is on one side of the corner of Quincy and Warren.
And it just shut down officially.
On the opposite, right across the street, what, 12 feet, 15 feet, is a plot of land that folks can better themselves, be employable, take care of their family, community, economy, and not one person walked over and pointed that.
Right, and to that point, I'm glad you flagged that, because, you know, I don't know if you know Dr. Brown and Rose, the Walgreens at Warren in Townsend is the fourth. We just closed down the end of the month. It's the fourth Walgreens in the black community that has shut down. The one that down at.
So why
they're not making any money, right?
Okay.
I mean, because that's what I'm saying. There are bigger things, the crime that's taking place in there, right? So the things that we should be focusing on that would better our lives, we're not.
I will argue that Walgreens shall return once gentrification has done its job.
You're right.
It's going to return.
Right. Because they're not shutting down in these affluent neighborhoods. And look, it's a business decision, right? Because also some of the reforms that have taken place where people can walk into your business, Walgreens and others, and take whatever you want, whatever they want, and there are no consequences for that. They're saying, hey, we're not making any money here. We're shutting down. So, but now there is a senior building that's less than 100 yards from there at the corner and these folks, a lot of them get their prescriptions and stuff. So this is now going to be an inconvenience. That is what people should be, and people were out there protesting its closing, but the decision had already been made, right? People weren't out there protesting saying, hey, look, we cannot tolerate this type of behavior in our community. So that because we know what the impact is going to be. These folks are going to take their toys, and they're going to move. T-Mac, I want to bring this other call in. Do you have anything you want? I want to let you finish up before I grab this other call.
Yes. So for individuals who really is about humanity, pay a little bit of attention to the People's Academy so we can help folks better themselves. Great show, and I will be listening.
Thank you, sir. And we'll continue to support the People's Academy, a worthy cause. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
This is Danny Santana, Director of ITY and for support of People's Academy.
Good morning.
Absolutely.
Yes, Danny. Good morning, sir.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about, I've heard a lot of comment about the community's emotions about those immigrants being placed at the Menina cast. And, and not to take away that their needs are any less than the needs of the people from the community, because they're not.
Yeah.
But we as a whole need to look at the bigger picture. We need to not be trying to so much be against them, because those are our people also,
Absolutely.
and they're in dire need.
Yeah.
But if the mayor and the governor are going to place those people to house those people that they put, no matter how much, are they going to get 300 housing applications to people, that they need to give 300 housing applications to the people that've been on the waiting list for years that are from the community.
Listen,
you know,
I don't
if they're going to house 300 of those immigrants
Right.
that they just put in our community, that they need to house 300 of the people from our community that are homeless, that have been waiting for
So
years.
Danny, okay,
on also.
so we can have a conversation here back and forth because you and I. So I don't disagree with anything you said. I'm not saying that folks should be allowed to cut in line, but they can do both. They don't have to do. It's not an either or conversation, right? Mm-hmm. We know, like I said, the public school are $1.4 billion, and I know you've had your eye on the schools. You work with young people in the community, and that's well lauded. But money is not a problem here. It is a will, and it's also a push. Like I said, we see even our folks. A lot of our displacement in the community is because there was nowhere. A gentleman told me a long time ago. He says, "You know what? They can build more houses. They can't build more land." And when he was saying, because people were buying the more affluent neighborhoods, now that has come across, right? And we're finding that most black people, unfortunately, have been renters and rather than owners. So if you're a renter, you don't have a say on whether the landowner wants to sell the building. So we're at that crossroads now here, right? Where people, a lot of people have been displaced, not because of these immigrants, but because they can't afford to live in the communities that they grew up in.
I would argue. I don't disagree with what he just
I
said.
mean, absolutely.
No, stand by. Hands by. I want to hear what
hold on.
Dr. Bradley says.
I don't
respond.
disagree with what he just said,
Yeah.
and I don't disagree with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I would argue that the individuals who came over from Europe have already been housed, have already been taken care of, and no one said absolutely nothing
Crickets.
about doing making sure that our people was taken care of first.
Yeah.
You know, he's not wrong.
No.
But I'm saying that should happen for anyone. We should be taken care of first before the European
Absolutely.
immigrant
Absolutely.
or for any immigrant.
But see, this is what I'm saying, Dr. Bradley. This is where we talk about the division thing, right? Where it's an either or. It's not an either or. They can do both.
Yes.
But they want to say as well, the reason why we can't do this, they weren't doing it for us before these folks came here. There were no housing certificates. There weren't housing. And these folks aren't going to they're saying they're going to provide these things. They're going to be in the same predicament that we're in, trying to find housing, because guess what? If you give one of these folks a certificate for a 2 or 3 bedroom for even $2,500, good luck trying to find one in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In that neighborhood, yeah.
Right. So you're setting them up for failure. So they're not going to be moving out of this situation no more than the other folks who are already in it. Danny, stand by for a second. I want to bring this other caller in. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the round table. Caller, you there?
Is that?
Yeah. Good. That's good. Jamal.
Okay, Jamal? Yeah, it's me. I'm back again.
Yeah. Okay.
So first of all, before I start, I want to go in on Walgreens, but first I want to say, because now I see Rhodes on the screen.
Yeah.
And where did you get that sweater, sir? Is that Cops R Us?
Cops. Yeah, he's got one of those. He's got one of those stickers that support the blue.
Yeah, that looked like a police issued sweater right there, boy.
I thought he was going to go after the Three Amigos.
Well, you know what? Jamal has a very valid
It
point.
does look like that. It does look like that's what it said. It does. I looked at it now. I'm like, yeah,
It's the same colors of the police
This is
cruisers,
the same. No, it's the one that support the cop, the blue. The blue, yeah.
That's the BPD winter line.
Yeah, well, he's part of the team now, so he wants to dress a part. We got to dock him for being late now.
So I'm here to help.
Here's what I wanted. Yeah, right. Pardon me. I cracked myself up.
Yeah,
I wanted to say about Walgreens.
yeah.
What a broken and sunken place we as a community have come when we are literally begging the vampire to stay. So a mosquito. If you're asleep and a mosquito lands on you, and you don't wake up and swat it, right? It will suck up all the blood that it can, and then it will fly away.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of these things, we're looking like, what do we think? Walgreens is a community partner or something? What did you believe the little flyers that they had in the window? This is a corporation, a business that comes to make money.
Yes.
And when the opportunity to make money dwindles or dries up, they move to greener pastures.
Yes.
And what has come now to, not just because of theft, which a lot of people, shoplifting, which is a factor, right? But another factor is online prescriptions and so on and so forth and other, right? The ability now to get a prescription filled at, Target, Walmart, Stop and Shop.
Competition.
And see, these are some of the options we need to be exploring more so ever, and leaning more on our local health centers, Whittier, Dimick, Harvard, right? All of whom have pharmacies, right? And even the black pharmacy down Dudley, which hasn't changed the tile in there since I've been a little boy, right? But real talk. So this is what I'm saying. What a sunken place we've become. We're in such a failure of our community that we're begging this corporate entity to still stay and take advantage of us. If you go to the corner store and you buy a pack of Reese's, it's one of my guilty pleasures, right? You get a pack of Reese's at the corner store, it's $1. Go to Walgreens, it's $1.29 to $1.69.
Yeah, but I never shopped at Walgreens, even in my neighborhood, because it's too expensive.
So they say groceries or whatnot. Here, get your prescriptions, do groceries, and then if you look at the Walgreens and whatnot, and the condition of how they kept the shelves, that thing been closed for 8 months. You just didn't know it. Okay. And not for nothing, and the CVS and Grove Hall is closed too. You just don't know.
Let me tell you that when I went in there recently, because my brother asked me to pick up a prescription for him, and Dr. Bradley, I walked in there and I'm like, I can't believe how dirty, the filthy, the rug. I mean, it just looked in total disarray. I'm like, this should not be, because I never go in there. But his prescription was there, and he asked me to grab it because he was, and I'm like, wow, it's deplorable. It's just the reason why like that Stop and Shop up there was shut down, because they were selling bad food up there. It's like, we should not have to, if you're going to be in our community, it should look just like the ones do in other parts.
Hey, look. Compare the McDonald's on Warren Street.
I can't, because I don't go in there, but go ahead.
I was going to say, but literally, if you compare that to whatever McDonald's is close to where you live, what it is, Ronald McDonald would be rolling in his grave.
Yeah.
You ain't lying about that.
Yeah. so Danny, I said I want to pivot a little bit. We can continue with it, but I want to, with the violence that's taking place in our schools. There's a lot of it in Brockton. I know you've been trying to do a lot of work in the community with our youth, and we don't seem to be getting traction. This is where I say this is the shiny object moment where I don't see the protests out there, that the fact that our schools have not improved one iota here in the city of Boston in a $1.4 billion budget. So a lot of the things that, money there is being wasted. They could have housed these folks over in West Roxbury Complex over there, which is a larger and has more facilities there in space, where folks could have been kind of out of the way, but still in the city, but in an area where it would have been a little more conducive to them getting around, because you can take that from there right to Forest Hills. But also, they have a gymnasium over there, but because they have sporting events over there, they have more showers. It's they have a huge kitchen there because it's a school. They don't have I don't know if they have a kitchen in there, but if they do, it's not the size of one of these schools. We got a lot of vacant buildings, schools here in the city that could have accommodated these families.
I mean,
in a better.
The reality of it is, Larry, is that these conversations that we're having right now at 8 o'clock in the morning that are important. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, good.
Okay. They need to be had at a later time of day where more people are up and are listening to the conversations that we having. We're having this conversation at 8:30 on a Saturday, with the majority of the people that are not inspired are not listening. And our people need to be taught how to partake in our local democracy, how to speak up,
Danny,
how to stand up for themselves.
Let me just say, interrupt you, because you're absolutely right, and I'm glad you flagged that we're having this at 8:30 on a Saturday morning, and we've been trying to get support for this radio station so we can have this at 8:30 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right during the week, right? So this is a constant, right? We try to do our part here. This is why it's so important. Like I said, that's another example, right? We don't have a black radio station here in the city of Boston in 2024 during the week. The last one we had that really was kind of pushing information out there and positive was Touch, and they've been shut down for years, right? So this is as close as
absolutely.
we have, right? And that's what I'm saying, is that we need to support so we have a voice, right? MAMLEO has to pay for a broadcast on Saturday so we can at least push some information out to our community in a positive way, right? But we should be pushing for that so that we can have a conversation every morning like other folks do on a consistent basis. And then on the weekends, we filling in the gaps. But we're trying to do in 2-3 hours what we should be doing 7 days a week.
Because
And let me also say
Okay.
too, because I think part of your point was like a lot of people are asleep at this time, right? Well, here's what I'll make, and it sounds funny, but a lot of people are asleep all day, and so
True.
and so what ends up happening is that this content. See, if you know how it is on YouTube or something, if the title of this show was, Screw Maura Healey,
You are the father.
right? You understand? Then it gain more traction. But some of the nature of this is that it's never going to be the most popular thing. It could get more popular, but just look at this. Look, Donahue died and Jerry Springer lived. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
well, listen,
Decency.
your brother. If the title of this show was "Free Turkeys," everybody would be listening.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Well, another thing that needs to be brought to the light is that the city of Boston really doesn't care about supporting brothers like us that are really out in
But
the
they're not
community
made
doing
to.
the-
They're not made to. How many times have you been out there trying to do things? And I see you out there. And where's the support? This Team Michael, right? Where's the support? Because let me tell you, you need a segment dependent, right? Independence does not work. Dr. Brown, you want to say something?
I was gonna go with the title of the show was "Free Turkey." Everybody will be out here, but we get up every morning,
What?
every Saturday morning. I got out of my bed this morning at 5:00 to be here
Right.
and do this show.
Right.
We're giving you free information,
Right.
and people just don't want to hear
And
it.
we pay for this time,
Exactly,
and we don't get paid for doing it.
we don't.
It costs us to drive in.
So people,
Yeah, that's
don't-
why I got up at 7:00 in the morning to make sure that I was present to listen to your
We
brothers,
appreciate
because
it.
your wisdom that you guys teach, I take a lot of it in, and I try to teach the youth the knowledge that I'm taught by older brothers like you that have paved the way. Like these youth are teachable, but we don't have enough brothers that care to teach them.
Well, right. So I'm gonna say something, Danny, because you're too young, and it's us old folks like Jamal and myself. I'm put him in this, and Rose is too young too. We used to get up on Saturday morning because you know what? My mom Saturday morning was cleaning day, and WILD, the Time Channel, was it the Time?
Oh,
Channel?
this was cartoon time, man. Saturday morning cartoons.
Right, but also it was cleaning, so my mom would have the radio on WILD on Saturday mornings. They would play the old school stuff, and that was so we were used to getting up on Saturday, like I said, watch cartoons. And guess what? Not just cartoons, but there was what was a Junction. It was Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock.
So there was an education on Saturday mornings as well. But we had something during the week that we could tune into.
But back in those days, man, the generation before us made it clear that you can't sleep. If you sleep, then the other side can get around you.
Absolutely.
Our folks are sleeping.
Right.
Our folks are not demanding things that our generation before us demand. All right. For instance, there should be no reason why we are tolerating that our kids do not learn
And the violence, Dr.
civic
Bradley.
education in our
The
schools.
violence.
Oh my God, that is crazy, Dr. Bradley.
Yeah, I mean-
I had
Go on, brother. Go on.
I had 16 youths that were older than between 16 and 19 that didn't even know how to properly sign their name to sign in and clock in.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many you said?
16, he said.
16 youths this past summer between the ages of 16 and 18 who did not know how to properly sign their name just to sign in their timesheet.
And then, so you understand how frustrating
point.
it is if they're
That's
going
why-
to school
Yeah.
and they feel like they're being left behind.
That's why
And then the whole psychological effect of it, and that's why they turn out and they become violent. It's like if they're not learning.
This is why I told him to actually go on, because I want to paint. This is a good segue into what I want to say here. When we were in slavery, let me just hear me out on this. It was a violation to teach us to write
read and write,
read.
yes.
It was a violation. I mean, the person who's doing the teaching
Would get killed.
and the person who did the learning
would get killed. Yes.
All right. So now let's fast forward to 2024. Now let's fast forward to the current day.
Yeah.
I can't kill you for teaching the youth of America how to read and write. But what I can do is put the youth of America in a deplorable situation in their education where they do not learn how to read and write. So what he just said,
Yes.
all right, they can't do what they need to do to actually earn a paycheck, earn a decent living. Now, what happens if I can't earn a paycheck and earn a decent living? I'm pushing that youth towards criminal behavior,
And you can't be competitive.
And you can't be competitive with
Yeah,
other folks. So
exactly,
if I push
my
you
brother. You hit the nail right on the head.
if I push you towards criminal behavior, now I can incarcerate you. When I incarcerate you, I got your free labor, I got your slavery condition all back over again.
But to that point, gentlemen, then again, I ask the question: the state has had control in some way over the city of Boston public schools for the last 2 years, right? There's been no improvement. Where is the outrage and the protest for that? Because there were more people who showed up to protest these folks from Haiti than there were about the conditions of their children, and the fact that Dame just said 16 of these kids could not read and write. That's just the tip of the iceberg. That is the common factor, and right, the dumbing down, and that you've seen a decline. When I was working and started working in the schools, there was 75,000+ kids in the Boston public schools. There's around 46,000 on any given day. Half of them are not even present.
Are missing. Yes.
22,000 are missing. No outrage. No.
Didn't a teenage girl just get stabbed at the bar?
So that's that week we had that week, and this is the week that I retired. You had
No. I think.
At the Brook. That's right. The other day, absolutely. And we were in Brockton, right? In matter of fact, the current principal at Brockton High School, I just found out, Mr. McCaskill, was the principal down at Madison Park. He's now in Brockton. He's dealing with the same problems. You were the director of safety and climate at Randolph High. Is basically that was the public right of their security, right? So you've seen this up close. You have put together programs. This is, like I said, that shiny object. We're not paying attention to the real problems that are affecting us.
So if I can keep you asleep, sleep doesn't necessarily mean that you're closing your eyes. You know, it could mean that you're not paying attention to the other situation.
Right.
If I can put you to sleep, I can always slip things by you. The fact that our children are not getting a quality education in a competitive world, not nation, a competitive world. They're competing with the Asians, the Europeans, the Australians, and all these other areas of the world. They will not be able to actually sustain themselves in a world economy.
Right.
It's appalling that we are not protesting that.
Right.
Because what it's doing is doing the exact same thing it did for people in slavery.
But this
it's preventing them from actually getting into the mainstream.
This is my point, Dr. Bradley. What Danny just said and why it's so profound. We're not in some rural country in Arkansas, or city, Arkansas, right, where the education is not something that the institution. We are surrounded. People come from around the world, not just the country, around the world to get educated here in Boston. Not Massachusetts, Boston specific. And yet he's telling us that we have children in the city of Boston at that age that cannot read. What do you think their future is?
Okay, Larry, watch this.
Jailhouse
If you remember Iraq, right? Iraq is an oil-rich country, right?
Yes.
And during Saddam, right? You still got poverty, surrounded by oil, but you still got people impoverished because the ones that are getting it is, the elite who are taking it.
Right.
So it's the same thing with the education. The trickle-down theory. It don't be trickling down. So we could be surrounded by these things that we are unable to take advantage of for all the reasons that Dr. Bradley has mentioned before, primarily race. I mean, we see what they just did to the president of Harvard. How long was she there? 8 months?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think actually people ask me from out of town. They asked me about the Patriots. I called him Coach Claudine Gay because that's what I think is going to happen to him.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
The first incompletion, he's out of there.
Right, and you raise a point. So, and they're saying that she should be held to a higher standard as president of Harvard than the president, someone who's running for office, could potentially be the president again with 91 criminal charges, and just that the 91 and it's climbing. That she should be held to a higher standard as the president of Harvard than the president of the United States.
Yes. And that's it. We're all held to a higher standard.
Right.
We've seen our politicians, for instance, get in trouble. We could use the example of Mr. Sylvester, who quote unquote got in trouble for doing something that had been
everybody else was doing the part.
tradition.
Right.
It was
right.
tradition.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
what I like to say about the trickle down theory is that economically it doesn't trickle down; it trickle around.
Right.
All right, that's what happens. It trickles around to within that community of rich folks.
Right, to the same people.
To the same people.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing here is that America, Black America in particular, is missing the ball here. You know, and when I say Black America, I just don't mean that people that's as dark as I am. I mean that people on all strata of the color, regardless if you're from the DR or you're from Haiti. Wherever you're from, you're a person of color, you're missing it. The thing is that I keep a system in place that gives you an idea or make you think that you're getting educated. But in actuality, when you're in it, you're not.
Right.
And so when you're not getting that education, you can't compete. Not only with you that you can't compete with with the world, but you can't compete with my children. So when I am in control, I can leave. My legacy is to leave it for what I built for my children. So your kids cannot compete with that. You know what I mean? So that's the key here.
Right,
That
but
we're missing the education piece.
this is why I say why history is so important, Dr. Bradley.
Yeah.
Because historically, even here, folks who are Americans, right, Black Americans, right, we always had the division, right, as you just alluded to, right. People with your skin complexion, people with my skin complexion, right. We were fighting each other because he was darker, right. So that again, we've always bought into this division. Oh, he's darker than me, so he's looked at differently, right. We're both Black, right. It's not even Black, Haitian or Black. You're darker than me, so you're different. You're different. So we get tricked into that, and not saying, nah, Dr. Bradley is my brother, right? He cherishes his dark black skin, but I'm no better because I'm lighter. But that is the perception that has been put on us that we treat him differently.
You know, and let's recognize this. You know, it says that the conditioner, the person who conditioned us, did a masterful job.
Yes.
So now, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to undo this? Because we look at each other and say, "I'm better than you because I'm lighter than you."
Right.
All right. He's saying the same thing. He's saying,
Talk about it, brother.
Yeah.
I'm better than everyone because I'm lighter than everyone because it's my system."
Right.
So as long as we actually start buying into it, then we're not actually hitting the right issues.
This is
what I mean.
We got to push
this
back.
is the problem. We have to push back. And so instead of being out there complaining about people coming into our community that look like us that's not being housed, let's go out and complain about the fact that we have a $1.4 billion budget in our school system and it's not being educated.
But here's the thing.
People
Go
are not
ahead,
being educated.
No, that's the thing. The children aren't being educated, and I think it's again systematic. The fact that they do bring them to school, waste their time, and send them back home, and then again, and they're not learning anything.
Right.
And then the parents. The fact that the parents actually accept this,
Right.
That's even another.
But to that point, the folks.
If I may interject real quick,
Yeah.
And it has a lot to do with what the schools are allowing. Because I remember back when I was growing up, they didn't allow me, even though I was a gang member, and I thought, that I was fully gang involved, and I really wasn't fully gang involved until my 16th.
Yeah.
They didn't allow it. These schools are allowing these kids with all that gang talk and all that gang wear and stuff into their facilities, and it's distracting the other kids from getting a chance to actually learn.
Right. So here's the thing, Danny. Right, and I get it. It's an inconvenience for a lot of the activities that were taking place over there. I get that, right? But most of those took place from 9 to maybe 8 o'clock at night. But how many people in that community are displaced from their homes by the presence or these folks being housed there compared to them being displaced because they can't afford to live in their communities, right? That is having more of an impact than these folks will for a few months, because what's happening in those communities with the displacement because they can't afford the rents in there and can't afford to buy in those neighborhoods, that is a lifetime. They're not going to be able to come back even when these folks are gone from that space there, right? They're not going to be able to recover. So again, this is just a convenient distraction from our bigger problem, and we're fighting with each other over the scraps again instead of enjoying the meal.
Let me ask our brother Danny. So, how old a brother are you?
I'm 41, my brother.
Okay, so you like 12 years younger than me. And I just say that to say, because when I was a kid, crack came out, let's say 85, 86, hit the wave. I was born in 71. So, I'm 14, 15, 16 around this time. It was wild. Like, in school, we was bringing in, guns, like a lot of them. And crack, when the crack came in the little vials with the red top or the blue top and all that, the little jums and all that. And so I want to say that some of the deficiencies in terms of the school and what kids are seeing, this is not a new phenomenon. This has been going on for now 30 plus years. And it just seems like
it was designed to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think that, a lot of time the educators in the school are unequipped. And even like when I was a kid, they had not metal detectors, but the security guards had the wand.
Yeah.
Okay. Sergeant Bellotti, I'll never forget him because he was not a pleasant gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Umana in East Boston. But anyway, all I'm saying is that even from back then, we was experiencing a lot of these things. Now I think it has gotten worse because the guns have gotten better. You know what I mean?
Well,
we had little 25s and all this. These kids now got stuff with red dots and lasers and you know what I mean? 100 in a drum.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
But I think also, Jamal, there was a different. I think that back then, right, we had a better understanding of racism because people were not as covert with it. They would tell you right how they feel. They would call you that they can't somewhat get away with that. They're trying to get back to that type of way of talking to you and treating you. So as a community, we were forced to kind of work together because we didn't have anyone but ourselves to lean on. Now we want to move away from that. Now we want to be part of something that we'll never accept. As Malcolm said, you send your children to be educated by the oppressor. Good luck with that. He's right, because we're seeing that in real time here. So we have to get back to what worked for us, because I never felt afraid, even with all of that, because like I said, I became a police officer in 1985, and I did see the change with crack. And like I said, it was a war on drugs. It was a war on us, because it only, in fact, just like now with this opioid and all of that, the war is on us. It is still targeting a certain segment of the population. We have to be smarter than that and stop turning on each other and saying, well, you know what, the problem is only within us. It is not. It's bigger than that. And like you said, it's that shiny object. I keep referring to that because this is another shiny object moment.
I'm happy that you mentioned that because as I'm doing the work that I'm doing in the community and advocating not just for the youth but returning citizens, I'm finding that a lot of people that are out there in the community doing the same thing that I'm doing would rather work against me than work with me in support of doing the same thing that we're doing. And I don't understand that. Until we can stand up together as a unified community and stop looking at each other as a competition and looking at each other as somebody we can collaborate with, we're always going to have this systemic hold that's holding us against each other.
Hold on, bro. You were born and raised here in Boston?
Born and raised here.
Okay, so you were surprised by that? You didn't know that this is the hater capital of the nation?
Well, my brother, you got to understand that I went from living a life of gang banging and not associating with police and not associating with elected officials and not caring about that to being real proactive in my community, becoming an activism, getting to align myself with people that'll teach me how to better myself, like my spiritual guidance, Pastor Haas, like Larry Ellis, and other people that have seen the work that I've been doing in the community and that have mentored me in one form or another. You know, so unfortunately,
let me just tell you that you know the great rapper Nas, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nas has that one line where he says, "Nowadays the rap game reminds me of the crack game," right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna just, as you were coming now from the streets into this world, all I'm gonna tell you, brother, is it's a lot the same. It's dog eat dog out here. And Hobbs and all these people, I mean, Larry Ellison was the president of MAMLEO. They hated on him. Hobbs is over here trying to deal with people with AIDS and incarceration and people hating on him. Pastor Wall trying to do a state of emergency and have a radio station, hated on him. Me, they be hating on me. So welcome to the club, my brother. We meet every Thursday.
No, every Saturday morning.
Right.
I'd like to point out something. Dan, do you remember this week when we had the meeting on Wednesday, or maybe they had that special guest from the sheriff's department today on
At the Baker House?
at the Baker House? Were you there, Dan?
No, I wasn't there. My assistant was there on our behalf, but unfortunately, I had to go to work. I've had some financial strain. I've been paying out of pocket for everything that I do with my nonprofit, and
Okay,
it's been a blessing. It's been a curse at the same time.
I wanted to point out the fact that within the system itself, because one of the things that they had pointed out was the fact that when people leave the prison system and they're about to be put out in put out in general population, I guess, or back into society. One of the things that they mentioned is the fact that they're supposed to have like a housing hearing for the inmate or for the parolee. And they said most of the times they don't even inform the parolee, the person, that they're supposed to attend this housing court thing when they leave. And then they end up getting in trouble. I was like, wait a second, you're leaving a place that's supposed, and then so to me it seemed like it was a setup, right?
Part of the discharge process, right?
Like if you're sending this person, they know they're supposed to go to this housing court, or in order to get the certificate for them to get housing or halfway housing, because I guess it's like they're supposed to be.
That was never informed to me. You know how many reentry panels I was part of on the inside, and that was never told to me once.
Yes, exactly. And so we're like, isn't that a setup right there? And they're like, why is there a disconnect where you're not told that before you leave?
We know why.
Yeah, exactly.
We know why.
And we pointed out.
That's why we're having the conversations that we're having nowadays with Sheriff Steve Tompkins, and trying to redirect that, and trying to make sure that returning citizens coming out of South Bay all have IDs, all know this information.
Yes.
Hey, look, how they be saying? Y'all come back now, you hear?
Well, let me ask this question here. I just want to make, because it just dawned on me that this young brother can answer this question for me. When you're incarcerated,
Yes.
are you allowed to work?
No, you work within the system, but
No, that's my point. Are you allowed to work while you're incarcerated?
If you're on parole, you
No.
But what, in the system, no.
So you're in jail.
Yeah.
You work for 75 cents a day up in there.
That's what I wanted to hear.
That's what you get paid in South Bay, 75 cents a day to work.
And so, who are you working for?
The man.
Yeah.
No. Actually, I'm making a point.
No.
Who are you working for? Are you working for a company? Are you working for the state? Who are actually?
What's the paycheck? Is it from Sedesco or from the state of
Who's
Massachusetts?
signing your check?
Yeah.
Can anyone help me with that?
Maybe they don't get a check because they get the money put right into their account for commissary.
No. So see,
Yeah, we get the money put right in our account for commissary once a month.
but
They don't pay us every week.
We got about 1 minute.
Once a month.
Good.
So they don't give them a paycheck.
But I got you. But
But as far as I know, right? If you, let's say you in prison for a long time, right? And let's say you've been a real frugal person, you might could come out with a couple $100 on an account. But from what I understand, I want to say that the place is called CCC, like correctional, or CSC, correctional services.
A lot of it's been privatized.
yeah, let's table.
Exactly, that's what it's a private company.
Let's table that next.
And for a lot of the public who watch movies and whatnot, they think prisoners is in there, making license plates and stuff like this, right? No, it's everything from clothes and but this is also too generally when you go to prison. A lot of people too, once again, from movies, they don't understand the difference between jail, county jail, and prison.
Right.
So there are differentiations there. But with Steve Tompkins, let me say this, and y'all should have him on the show.
Yep. All right, quickly, we got 20 seconds.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, because with Steve Tompkins, as good as he is as well, there's been a lot of problems in South Bay that need to be discussed. Suicides, rapes, overdoses, and all that, and it needs to be discussed.
We'll put him on the list. Gentlemen, we have to go. The clock is ticking over there. The red light is blinking. It is that time. You've been listening at the round table. All right. You're welcome. All right, thank you, Brother Jamal. I will see you soon. You've been listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. We're going to take our break and we'll be right back.
The underdog. I wrote 300 songs in 1 year, Boogie will tell you I'm on it. I got unreleased songs for days, they don't want it. Eat any MC in the game, it ain't a challenge. If your music reflects who you are, then you's a coward. I can see through the lies, you ain't living what you spitting. If your money's so long, why your dog's in prison? Why your baby mom's stripping, why your mom's still living in that same broken home that you used to sell piffin'? You ain't gotta lie to me to sell me a track. You ain't gotta rock fake jewels or walk around strap. I respect artists getting money, but love them for spitting crack. And the fact that one track can move a family out the trap. It's a dream for us lost souls brought up in the mix. I'm motivated by the artists coming out in my midst. And the artists that paved the way when I didn't exist. Music's a skyscraper, I'm just trying to add a couple bricks.
This is for the dreamers. They say I am a dreamer. Cause I still believe that anything is possible as long as you work hard.
Hustle real hard, hustle real hard, hustle real hard, hustle
so
real
if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya, no, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for